What's up, everybody? Happy Horror Friday. It's your boy Blaze Horror, back at you with another installment on my Bring It Back to the 80s series. I believe this should be the 5th video, or it could be the 4th, but I'm leaning more on the 5th one. This one's going to be fantasy type adventure movies from the 80s. This video I was not doing, I did 4 in all the other videos, Bring It Back to the 80s. This one I got 3. Apparently I lack 80s fantasy and adventure films. I thought I had more than 3. But I'm going to address that. I'm going to order a bunch of stuff from throughout the 80s and early 90s. That's fantasy and action adventure type films. Alright, so let's get started. The first one I have is Dragon Slayer. It's 1981. I actually remember this when I was a kid viewing this. I actually went to the theaters with family to see it. Swords, sorcerers, dragons, young sorcerer apprentice, which is this guy, right? The young guy in here, and that was the sorceress who taught him what he knew, gave him the skills. Villagers really like, almost like everybody looks down on him, like a nerd, you know, nobody wants to, get out of here nerd types, you know, atmosphere for him. But he steps up into full wizard mode, and he goes up against this dragon. Dragon is wicked in this movie. Mean, nasty. Big fight sequence, an action sequence towards the end of him inside the dragon's lair, a cave. He's going head up with the dragon, was pretty cool. The special effects for early 80s, especially 81, they're pretty sweet. If you haven't seen it, check it up, you know, like I always, check it out on YouTube and check out some trailers. It's cool. Got some cool stars in it too from the 80s. Alright, second one up is, what do we got here? Oh, give me a minute. Oh, one of my favorites came out a year later from the Dragon Slayer, and that's The Dark Crystal. Came out in 1982. It's another film I remember seeing as a kid and going to theaters to see it. I remember owning and getting the VHS when it came out into the stores. Wish I had that VHS today. I like VHS quality on certain films, especially 70s, 80s. I think the quality of VHS and for those particular era of movies works great for those movies on account of the film and everything they were using back then compared to what they use now. But this is an adventure. It's elves. The whole premise is they head into this spot to go. You could almost look at, to me, sometimes when I watch the movie, I said, man, you're almost like little elf thieves. They go in and get this crystal. Throughout their film and throughout their travels, they also have a bunch of other animated, cool-looking characters. Jim Henson did the film. So you know there's going to be a lot of cool creature creation, Muppets. Very sweet. Costumes, the backdrop, you know, the settings, the colors, really cool. You don't have to be young to fully enjoy this movie. You could be, you know, whatever age. Long story short, this is a film that was made to be fun for the whole family, and that's awesome. 80s had a lot of those films. But it's very cool. Dark Crystal, if you haven't seen it, look it up. Very cool. Can't go wrong with early Jim Henson anyway. He was the best with the those style type puppets and stuff and those type of movies. Next up is a film that originally came from a storybook. They've been several movies and short miniseries upon this next film, as far as Hobbits go and so forth. You see what I'm talking about. It's Rumpelstiltskin. Came out in 1987. Starring Amy Irving. This was another thing I remember. I believe it was made for television. I think that's where it premiered. I'm not too sure though. Maybe it came out in the theaters, but I remember when I was a kid that it was, well, when I was younger, it was like a teenager. But I think it was like a straight like a TV deal. This is another one. It's got a lot of cool backdrops. The sets that they built for these characters in this film is just, I mean, are amazing. That's another thing these days compared to like the 80s and even early to mid 90s. You had a lot of people that were making films go out, directors, producers, going all out on all these little details to their films. These days it's like, you know what, get in front of that blue screen, let's play pretend like you got something in front of you and have at it, and then we'll just finish the rest with the blue screen. Thanks for coming in, have a good one. The imagination from, know what that does and the blue screen does with a lot of directors and films. It almost like X's out the imagination that the imagination in the sense of when you're watching a film and you feel like it just takes captive of you, like you're connected to that film somehow, and you're really into it and you're enjoying it. You're like, oh wow, it takes out that great experience to me, that blue screen in most films these days. Now I'm not a big fan of it at all. But now, like films, like all the new Marvel films, being when I was young, when the original comics came out, I was a comic kid. So for me, the blue screen, I can accept it for movies like that, but for like something like this, with more of a creative scene build up, and the set plays a major part in it for me for a lot of movies, especially these fairy tale Disney booked made movies and so forth, fantasy adventures and Lords of the Rings. To me, the set it holds high interest for fans, and it also piques interest for people that, oh, let me check this movie out, that were never a fan of a franchise or of a particular type of movie or genre, and they'll see it and they're like, man, that set and that backdrop is dope, dude. This movie's dope. But yeah, long story short, the blue screen, it does not work for every movie. That's why I really appreciate the 80s films, and especially films like this, because they went all out building sets, man. Visual artist type stuff. But this is a fun film right here. I suggest, because films like this, between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, became like a big fan favorite. This is earlier on how they were doing in filming and directing and writing. It was just different atmosphere all around, back in that day, back in that time. So you can't look at, oh, I'm going to check it out, man. Maybe it's going to be as good as Lord of the Rings, or it's a fun movie, but you might not be used to what the filming is, the quality of the film, and other stuff. And there's no blue screen in it, so some people might find it boring. I don't know. But anyway, look it up. You might enjoy it. I don't know. I love it. Great. I give it at least a 9. And I think out of all these 3 films right here, if I had to choose one that would be my favorite, it would come down to these. Dark Crystal and Dragon Slayer. I'm big into like Vikings, the Viking series and Viking movies and music and stuff like that. And with this, and this is based in medieval times, so I more than likely would choose this one over the 3. If I had to rate them all by themselves, I'd give this an easy 10. You got about 11 at least right here. Even though this is my favorite, you get this about 11. And right here, I could go with a 9. It's fun. So anyway, well, let me put some more movies together. I got a couple more movies I want to push today for sure. I had to slack the last couple days, been busy. Got some more video ideas that I'm gonna go ahead and start working on the side. If I like the format, I'll film a couple of videos of some different things I want to do, like tell horror stories and stuff like that. Figure out when I want to, how I want everything to be set up around where I'm going to be filming. It probably take a little while because I'll do film some this and that and this and that and play it back and try to do a little bit of music in the background. And then I have to develop, because it's something new I'm doing, I have to make sure I'm comfortable. Sort of like you want to put something out there and you just like start feeling comfortable about it for whatever silly reason. But yeah, I got some good things coming. Once again, have a safe and productive Horror Friday. If you're off today, forget hanging out outside, man. Get in front of that flat screen. Throw in your favorite horror movie or horror movie you haven't seen. I'll be back at you again later with more videos. Feel free to like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification buttons, because I got some dope material with some dope videos coming. And like I always say, have an awesome horror day. Actually, that's the first time I think I said it in any of my videos. And I'll get back at you later. Peace!